Here back at you at Clash at the Coast, Joe Gym Life podcast, what I'm dubbing our Clash interviews and picking up a lot of the personality around here, including the athletes that participated in the inaugural class event 3.0 this year, the third edition. Sitting to my left, an officer and a gentleman, Vince Wilkinson from Georgia.
Try to be.
Yeah, I guess. And no joke, you're an officer in the Army.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, how cool is that? And what got you into this? Was it Dan Hughes, right? And the group, or you guys' group, right? The
strongman, yeah, he's on the Warrior Fitness team. He's on it full-time. I competed on it part-time, so they paid for me to come out here and do this, so it's awesome.
The Warrior Fitness team. That's what I was trying to allude
Warrior
to. Yeah,
Fitness
you guys were talking about it last night. We were chatting about it. Bring that mic up a little bit to your mouth, too. Yeah, to pick up better. But yeah, that's kind of a cool thing, right? And you finding yourself in this Warrior Fitness program.
Yeah.
And was it Dan that kind of led you down the strongman path, or were you kind of already on it?
No, so I've obviously I've enjoyed picking up heavy things a lot of my life, but then when I was doing some training, I was in Missouri, and I was in the gym deadlifting, and somebody who had just done a novice show himself. He came in, he was like, "Hey man, you should try out this strongman thing." So that's what I did. Signed up for a novice show, did that, went well, got a ticket to nationals, went there, got second there, and then it gave me a ticket here. So now here I am.
Well, that's kind of the short route to get to one of the biggest shows in the country, if not the world, when it comes to the 105 class. Mm-hmm. That's a fast track, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it. One of the funny things, I was at that novice show, and I was like, so if we podium, we get a ticket to nationals. And the guys there were like, well, yeah, but like none of us would go to nationals. They just didn't think it was in the cards for them. And I was like, well, if I get the invite, I'm going to go and just give it a shot. And it's worked out.
Well,
You're good.
It worked out for you. You actually worked out for you overall as well. I mean, being associated with these guys here at the 105, the best in the world, you would argue. Mm-hmm. What do you think of your performance? I mean, were you pretty happy with the way you made your rookie season, I guess, for here at Clash?
Yeah. So I knew coming in I had some weaknesses. Obviously, if you watched my pressing, it wasn't phenomenal out there. So I knew I have things I need to work on.
A lot of guys had trouble with that, though. In your defense, I mean, that SEER dumbbell is not an easy thing to. It's easy to get up, or I shouldn't say easy, but you can clean it pretty well. But balancing that press is, it's really difficult.
Yeah. That just don't have a lot of experience with it. So I have a lot to work on there. But yeah, I was very happy to make the finals. Yeah. I was stoked on that, and then. Got 11th. I'm very happy with that, and I want to come back and do better next year.
Yeah, I think the idea that they were able to bring 12 guys into the final this year, and I think you were there already. You weren't a part of that third place split, were you?
No.
Okay, so I guess you could say you got it there the clean way, not to take away from McKeegan and Schwantz and those guys. But how did you feel kind of going into that qualifier? Because a lot of times guys will talk about Clash and go, listen, if you haven't been here and you haven't had the opportunity to compete in Clash, to understand the speed of Clash and the way Clash works, it's an intangible you just don't ever get till you do it. So you kind of had to learn on the fly a little bit. Mm-hmm. How did that qualifier feel for you? Did you feel like you put it all on the line, you qualified for sure, but what was kind of your takeaway from that, then having to turn around and compete like literally the next day?
So coming in, I wasn't sure how I was going to do, to be honest. Like, I've only done 2 other shows before this one, so then it was hard to know like where I was going to sit with a lot of these guys and their performance. But come in here, do a couple of the events. Luckily, started with the deadlift, which is personally for me, it's one of my better events. Yeah.
How'd you do in that, by the way? Your first?
I got 17 reps. So
that's right. Somebody mentioned you were way up
one
there.
Behind Gator, he got 18, and then me and Clayton tied with 17.
Wow.
So doing that right off the gate, it's like, all right, I can compete with these guys for sure. Going to do what I can do. And then, it went well.
That's like a hell of a way to start a show.
Yeah,
I mean, it really is. You get your wheelhouse right off the bat, baby.
Yeah, it was nice.
And you weren't wrong. I'm that deadlifter. I'm able to compete with these guys. That's a good place to be in your mind going forward, despite what was ahead of you. You kind of knew it at that point. Okay, I can belong here. That's a great story to start. I imagine if you took away anything from Clash as kind of a memory, that might be it. That first event, right? I mean, not to say you didn't have fun doing everything else, but it was kind of that moment where you sort of said, "Okay, I belong here."
Yeah. I mean, it's big because coming in as a new guy, not doing this, this is my third show. It's like I said, it's hard to know where I'm going to sit, and then now I know that I can compete with these guys, and I belong here for sure.
Now, your background, of course, I mean, you've been in the military. You were a West Point guy or something?
Yeah, I went to West Point. Yeah. Graduated out of there from 2021.
Yeah, okay. Very cool. Of course, we all that resonates with everybody out there. Every true-blooded American out there, a red-blooded American appreciates the West Point and the history behind that academy. But you don't picture you guys doing a lot of heavy lifting there at West Point. So I'm trying to correlate this story, right?
Oh yeah.
I mean, when did you start picking up the weight? Because no doubt you were running your ass off back then. I mean, so the speed and dynamic nature of what you're about now in the 105s, that's built in.
Yeah.
But when did the strength come about for you?
Yeah, so I'm not quite as fast now as I was then, for sure.
Holding a bit more weight, are you?
Yeah, but there at West Point, I was on the strength and conditioning team for three-ish years. Yeah, so I was like a part-time, or like I helped as a strength coach, coaching up the basketball team, helping out with them, doing what they needed. So I was in the gym pretty much every day. And before that, I was always still working out. So
just kind of being that strength and conditioning coach just allowed you to coach guys, but at the same time, kind of pick up the weight a little bit. Like you challenging yourself a little bit differently in there, maybe than the way you were coaching the athletes or for strength and conditioning. So it allowed you to kind of play around with the heavier weight.
Yeah, and I was always in the gym, so always working out. And the guys on the strength and conditioning team, we just had a great community there of people who loved getting after it.
Yeah,
loved doing gritty things. So yeah, we'd be hitting lifts all the time, doing that kind of thing.
What do all these guys think about what you're doing today? I mean, I'm sure you got a contingency of dudes you keep in touch with everywhere.
Oh yeah, one of them, a couple of them are in Savannah, Georgia, stationed over there at forget the name, but
oh my God, he's an officer in there, and he forgets the name. Officer.
One of them came out yesterday and watched the finals. So
cool.
it was awesome having that. And then he went and did his bike. He's training for a 200-mile bike ride. So all these guys are still getting after it in their own way, and it's awesome.
That's great.
It's awesome having that community.
Yeah, it certainly is, and I know that. And I brought up Dan again earlier because I thought you guys, he's a part of that team as well, right?
Dan
is right. And there's one other guy that was with you guys that didn't compete, but is a part of that team as well.
He just competed last weekend.
Okay, he
his
did.
Own comp,
Oh, at a strongman comp.
Yes.
Oh, good for him. Okay, great. Yeah. So there's quite a few strongmen coming up for the Army then, I guess, huh?
Me, Dan, and Pat right now.
Well, listen, for you and Dan right off the bat, that's great representation for the 105. Dude, if there's poster guys for the 105, guys in the military or even the Captain America type guys, that's you guys for sure.
Yeah.
The clean cut sort
Dan's a monster.
Oh, Dan is a monster, sure. Yeah. And when I was interviewing Dan too, I think you probably have these same attributes about you because the military instills them upon you. It's attention to detail, right? You're drilled on that. I was in the military myself, so we know that attention to detail. That describes Dan's style very, very well. I have no doubt that you probably pay just as close attention to that kind of thing because it's kind of built in you. Yeah. And being a 105er, it's not just strength, it's transitions, it's all the little intangibles that could put you on that podium or knock you completely off of it. Because as we saw yesterday, a slip of a stone, 1 second in a truck pull, it made all the difference in the world.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's kind of the way you go about your training. Do you break it down like that?
Break it down, yeah. I mean, definitely you got to focus on all of those things and then really just do what you can do. Yeah, I mean, eventually you'll kind of pick and choose, right, as you're getting further into your strongman training days and through these competitions. I imagine it's just constantly tweaking. And you're kind of one of those phenoms in the sport right now. I think, and I brought his name up several times this weekend, was John Alamo as well. I mean, you're in that category with John kind of being the next generation of 105ers that are coming through our sport right now, representing a real high level at a young age. We talked yesterday. I mean, you're still growing. I mean, so the idea now for you guys you're probably 6 foot tall, I'm guessing, right? Yeah.
I mean, it's a different type of athlete now in the 105 class. I mean, generally when you saw 105ers back in my day, they were 5'10" and under because we were a bit sloppier of a 105 class back then.
Oh, yeah.
But you guys are built like brick shit houses now. There's not a lot of fat in you guys.
Yeah.
You're trying to pack as much muscle as you can without spilling too far over and not needing that huge cut and being as athletic as you could possibly be. And you guys represent that really, really well. It's going to be exciting to watch you come up through the ranks. Are you a guy that cuts weight coming into this, or does naturally being in the Army kind of keep you in that already kind of condition?
Yeah. I sit around like 235 already, 240 maybe at the heaviest. Army definitely helps keep me leaner just because I still got to do PT with my unit. And I'm definitely one of the smaller guys coming in here. I got in here and Tyler Goes I see why you didn't need to get in here early to cut weight to make weight.
Did you feel that way though? See, I saw you walking around. I didn't feel like you were one of the smaller guys. I mean, you looked athletic as all get up for sure.
Yeah.
I knew you were definitely one of the more athletic ones. But did you feel that way around some of these guys?
I appreciate you saying that. No, I walked in that room and I was like, man, I'm like the smallest guy here for sure. That's how it felt to me, at least. I don't know if it's true. Obviously, it's a mind thing too.
Well, too, and you're walking around giants in your mind, right? I mean, when
Yeah.
you think about Matt McKeegan and Clayton and Bob Schwantz and these guys that have been around the sport for a long time, they are kind of giants in our mind a little bit too. And being in your class, I mean, and being the new guy, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Of course, the next generation is going to look at you the same way. They're going to go, oh shit, there's Vince. Oh God, do I even belong here?
Yeah.
But and again, you did what you did, and you proved that you were supposed to be here.
Yeah. Walking in and definitely, I knew I was one of the new guys. Seeing everybody, I was like, man, I'm the smallest guy here. But I think I did a pretty good job not letting that get to me because I knew it doesn't really affect me. It's like all I can do is what I can do. You train for this stuff and you just go out there and do what you can do, and it worked out.
How does it work in your duty station? What is your duty station right now, and how does that impact your training? Are you obviously your first responsibilities to the U.S. Army?
Yeah.
Kind of moving forward. I know that probably crosses your mind from time to time. You might be in the middle of one fuck of a season, man, and you might be like, "Oh, sorry guys, I'll see you next year."
Yeah.
I mean, that's a bit uneasy of a feeling being a strongman. I guess I had never really thought about that for other guys, but for you, that's certainly the case.
Yeah, I'm out at Fort Carson. My unit's actually been very gracious. I'm very thankful for them because they've given me a lot of time to do a lot of my training. I still do PT with my platoon. So I do that in the morning, and then I go and do my stuff in the evening. But luckily, they've been very good. I haven't been in the field too much, so I've been able to train for this pretty well. Going forward, obviously, you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, being an officer too. I mean, ultimately, you got you guys that are leading this, on that side of things. There's not a lot of you're responsible to that position, and it's a bit more than being enlisted. That sense in some degrees.
Yeah, I can't just miss out on things. I need to go to do the training, and coming up later in this year, I do have a lot more of the Army stuff I need to focus on.
Yeah,
and especially now that my unit has been so good to me, letting me focus on this. Yeah, I might have to focus on the Army.
Give a little back, yeah. It's a give and take for sure. I love that about all these strength sports, and I get the opportunity to meet a lot of you folks that are serving our country. Amber Hansen comes to mind in the Air Force. She's a big-time powerlifter with Anderson Powerlifting, and she represents a team similar to the U.S. Army Warriors team. But I think it's real cool that our armed forces has these, these select opportunities for those that are excelling in these different sports too, right?
Yeah,
I mean, is that kind of the way the Warrior program's set up with you guys? Is it not all strength athletes, but marathon athletes that have a different spectrum of athletes from one to the other?
So the Warrior Fitness team itself is primarily CrossFitters, strongmen, and then there's opportunities for powerlifters. I don't think we have any powerlifters right now, but that is there.
Okay, so there's a little bit of a spectrum there as far as it's all. I guess it correlates, right? Because the Army kind of is that CrossFit / strongman type training. Because what you guys do essentially might require all that type of dynamic. So I get it now. Okay, so there probably are different groups, of course, but the Warriors program itself is specific to kind of that dynamic strength training type of stuff.
Yeah. It's awesome the Army has different opportunities like that. Yeah, they do have the Warrior Fitness team, and then, but in that same unit, they also have like an esports team and some other opportunities for different areas, different things.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I think that's really, really cool. What are the chances of you getting just 10 years serving in the Warrior team? Is that happen? I mean, do you guys get assigned to it? Like, you might be that officer for that team moving forward?
So Dan's down there full time, and that's his job. I'm still out in Fort Carson. Hopefully, I can get out to Fort Knox.
So it's a possibility if you ever wanted to do
there.
it.
Yeah, not for 10 years, but for a couple.
Okay, that's cool. I'm just trying to think about your future in the sport. I'm being selfish right now is what I'm doing. Like, how do we get Vince to completely concentrate on strongman and nothing else for 2 straight years? I mean, the potential is so incredible with you that I think we're all excited to kind of see that,
I would love to get down to Fort Knox and do it a little bit more full time.
Oh man, that would be great.
2 or 3 years, that'd be awesome.
I think you got a lot of fans out there that would love to see that too, especially after your performance this weekend.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate you joining me, man.
Of course.
And nice meeting you as well. And of course, we'll be out there tonight having some beers, celebrating this final night.
Yeah.
And by the way, I'm setting up the cam out there. It's going to be the party cam. It's going to be live.
Oh yeah.
I'll leave the microphone there, but if you or any of the other Army guys go to touch it, I'll tackle you away from it. because I don't want that to come back and haunt you at your unit.
okay.
So, okay,
Yeah.
I'll be looking out for you is what I'm saying.
I appreciate that.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Vince.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, brother.
Thanks
All right.
for having me.